Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode right here at Catholic Table Talk Podcast. This is a podcast where everything Catholic is on the table. Once again, hey, sorry about last week missing episode because I was sick. Also, the internet went down, so without Wi-Fi, it's kind of hard to get a podcast going. So thank you for your patience on missing last week, but we were back on. And so today's episode we're going to talk about just kind of what we are going to talk about last week, and it was today's Catholic headline today's Catholic news, tomorrow's Catholic headlines. So what do I mean by that is what is happening today that we don't really maybe know about, or like that we should be paying attention to. So we'll talk about that and more. Today's episode, once again, is sponsored by Dr. Katrina Wynn, family musician, doctor. See how she can help you, your family, community, and your neighborhood out at mydoctor.com as well as mdkatrina.com is for personal site. Thank you for Dr. Wynn for sponsoring today's show. If you'd like to be a sponsor yourself, please reach out at catholictt@gmail.com. Also, that's where you find a go-to for show and speaker requests. I always love to have more show requests, so please have them come. catholictt@gmail.com. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the show on all the platforms down below and links below. Help us to reach more people. And hey, I mean, either learn more about the Catholic faith or um, come home to the Catholic faith. So make sure you follow us on all the platforms. Today on the video version, if you're listening to audio on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Google Podcasts, you're not really seeing this, but if you're watching the video on Facebook, YouTube, or Spotify, this is going to come in handy. So I will share my screen and we'll do a PowerPoint presentation like I said I was going to do um, on this. So the works top 3 Catholic headlines today's episode. Again, it's kind of Catholic topics today. Tomorrow's Catholic headlines. Um, so I wanted to do this and we'll see how far we get into it. So, all right. So the first one is, of course, none other than Bishop Robert Barron calls for Dodgers boycott over anti-Catholic hate group. And again, this is from Catholic Vote. It was an episode 79, I believe it was 78, 79, that it was staying in loop in the Catholic Vote. Catholic Vote. If you don't know what Catholic Vote is, highly recommend that you follow it on every social media platform there is. It's probably my really trusted number one news source that I go to in the morning via the newsletter. This is not advertising. This is just I'm just doing it for my personal experience. Um, so yeah, just a little stuff that got pulled from theirs article was Bishop Barron, who is remember from Minnesota but nationally known, described that the Dodgers' reinvention of the SPI is being accompanied by a kind of pathetic analogy where the SPI was praised for all the great work that they do. When giving an example of this so-called great work, the bishop described the SPI's Easter Sunday display where they had Jesus on the cross, the most sacred moment in history for Catholics, and then Barron encouraged his friends in Los Angeles to boycott the Dodgers. He noted that he is a big baseball fan and even threw out a scenario forced pitch for the Dodgers during a Catholic night promotion in 2016. So again, just catching up to speed, if you don't know what this is really happening, the Dodgers, when the show comes out, is about a week away from having a Pride night, and they invited the Sisters of Indulgence, or whatever, um, a hate group towards Catholics, as I believe, if I'm not mistaken, like transgender men dressed up as nuns to mock him. And I mean, Los Angeles used to be, and it still kind of is, a Catholic city. Um, a lot of California is or was for sure, but even like they said, 2016 Catholic night. But the Dodgers took advantage of this Pride night, and they are going all out on this. They forced Catholic vote, kind of took it to them, and then the Dodgers kind of backed down and they said no, and then to the Pride night, and then they started back up again, and now they have like Christian night to follow. Which I mean, does that really help? Not really. So, just going on with it, Bishop Allen here also works especially for his Hispanic friends, many of whom he indicated were big baseball fans. This is your religion. This is the religion of your family, he said. Why are we tolerating this? Barron closed by urging his followers, let's pray for the effects of our faith. Let's stand for the Catholic faith. Because ultimately, that's what we're called to do. Um, I'm not a big Dodgers fan, never was a big Dodgers fan. I know some of you guys who are listening to this might be Dodgers fans or more Dodgers fans, but I love baseball. I mean, I love most of the teams, half the teams in the AL. I love probably a quarter of the teams in the NL. I might be a little more biased towards the AL, but for the most part, I just really love baseball. I've never been a big Dodgers fan, so boycotting the Dodgers is totally fine with me because now it's like he says to the Hispanic fans, it might be a little tougher for you because this is your team. You love the Dodgers, but which do you love more, the Catholic faith or the Dodgers? Which ultimately, if it came down to me and my favorite team, it would have to be the Catholic faith. So a little bit later from Catholic vote on the story. Also, you can also contact the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, they're not really going to change it, so to say, because I mean, they're not going to change it, but we're going to keep the Friday night. But you should calmly say this is not okay for at least future reference. A little mess up the keys here. So, phone numbers for Eric Stan or Louis' voicemail. Let them know your concerns regarding the mockery of our Catholic faith and the invitation of these homosexual men portraying themselves as nuns. When writing or calling, please be respectful, formal, and brief. And this is from Jesse Romero, Catholic author, radio host, and evangelist. He says this is an example you can write to tell the doctors. I am a Dodger fan, or maybe I'm a baseball fan. You have disrespected my Catholic faith by your invitation to the Sisters of the Perpetual Indulgence, who are actually homosexual men. I will no longer prioritize the Los Angeles Dodgers Major League Baseball team in any way, shape, or form. I will let others know that your organization has made a mockery of the Catholic faith. Would you do this to the Muslim or Jewish religion? That is honoring homosexual men dressed in monarchs or a skull cap. So much for unifying the community. Your organization has done a great job of dividing. Unquote. That again, that's an example you can give to the Dodgers. I mean, it might not really help right now, but for future use. Because again, great point, Jesse Romero. I mean, do they are they mocking the Muslims? You know, are they mocking the Jews? I mean, really, it's solely based on the Catholic faith. They're not mocking Lutherans, it's not mocking um, Free Baptists, or Baptists, they're not mocking Hindu or any other, that you call, yes, religion slash I don't know what you call it, but anything. I mean, it's directly towards the Catholic faith, and it's a problem that we see time and time again in America. And for people that say the Catholic faith is not true, it's not real. You guys are just kind of making stuff up, superstition stuff. I mean, just look at the headlines in today's world, and you can see that most of this stuff. Why are we getting mocked if it's not true? I mean, if it wasn't true, why are people hating the Catholic faith? Basically, just saying. So the other headline today is what to say when your young child doesn't want to go to church. But before you get to that, again, contact the Los Angeles Dodgers, boycott them if you can. I mean, again, which one you have, the Catholic faith or Dodgers? Which, like I said, in this situation, to me, even though I'm wearing blue, I guess right now, but to me, it's pretty easy because I don't really like the Dodgers anyway. But again, if it was my favorite team, it would be harder. But again, it's what how to do to go towards heavenly things, which is keep the faith, not go towards earthly things, which is the Dodgers, Major League Baseball, and so on. So, Catholic News Article 2 of 3 today. What to say when your child doesn't want to go to church? And I'm sure most of you have heard that before. Mommy, I don't want to go to church. Well, how come you don't want to go to church? Very, very, lots of reasons why kids don't want to go to church. Now, just before we get into, I mean, having a young child say this is probably that's just kind of normal, right? So don't. To me, I want to take it as seriously, nothing really serious. If you have a teenager or something that is kind of struggling with his or her phone, being on the phone a lot, just kind of not really being engaged in the world, like if it's just kind of keeping to him or herself, not wanting to go to church and really kind of mocking the Catholic faith if they were along with the Dodgers, then there's room for concern. But coming from to like a 3, 4 year old, 5 year old, don't take it too serious. No, I mean, don't take it seriously, but don't take it too hard, too bad. Um, and I'll give you some examples. Is again, the little kids, they don't really know what's actually taking place at the mass. So church is non-negotiable. Again, take it seriously. Say, no, you're going to church, but don't be hard on them. Like you're going to church and that's final. Explain to them. Some parents, there are 5 ways to this from the article I found, which other links are down below again. Some of the parents let the child choose whether or not to go to mass. But to me, in the article, the author writes, that makes as much sense as letting a young child choose whether or not they want to wear a seatbelt, brush their teeth, or eat their vegetables. I mean, again, you're not going to leave a 5-year-old child at home. I mean, this could be a 10-year-old, but you're not going to leave them at home. We go to church on Sunday. It's just what we do in our family. And we are intentional about building this weekly habit into a non-negotiable part of our family culture. And I even brought this up to a Protestant who asked, why is it mandatory that we guys gotta go to church? And I said, well, how often do you go to church? You're not mandatory every Sunday, but when do you go to church? And he said, basically every Sunday. It's kind of we feel really bad when we can't make it to church. I'm like, exactly. It's like people think, oh, Sundays is mandatory, it's so strict, or blah 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 blah. Again, we go to church, it's just a routine. It's not just a routine, but I mean it's like it's what we do. So and most Protestants go to church every week. So again, what's the difference? We go to church because it's what Christ tells us to do, and we need to get renewed in faith. And we receive the Eucharist and nourish our bodies and our spiritual lives. Acknowledge and describe how they are feeling. A really important part of helping a child feel understood and seen is informing what they are feeling. So try something like this. I hear you. Say Lily. I hear you, Lily. You don't want to go to church. Church feels boring to you right now. I've been there too. It's normal to feel that way when you're a little kid. I used to think church was boring when I was your age as well. Have that connection with them. Explain why we go to church. If you say, when you say something like this, I thought church was boring when I was your age, but now going to mass is my favorite thing in the world to do. So I know you are going to love it when you get older too. Again, if it's from a 3 to 10-year-old, you don't really know what is happening at the mass. I mean, if you receive first communion, let's say when you're 8 to 10, you should know what's kind of going on. But there's still a lot more to the mass that they don't know. And it's kind of like in projects. You plant the seed and God will take care of the rest. You have them go to church, you have them, read the readings, you have them pray, you say along what the rest of the congregation is saying during the mass, and you let God do the rest. When this conversation came up with my 6-year-old, she said, I told her, God gave us all the days and hours and minutes of our lives, thousands of hours to have fun and play and enjoy life. It's kind of me time, you know, God is still there, but we don't think of God. We're just enjoying our, time, you could say. He just asked us to give him 1 hour a week to go to mass on Sunday. And if the priest is holding it a little longer, so be it. Don't think we should do that. Share our witness. The Catechism teaches us that the parents are called to be the first evangelist for the children. Through the grace of the sacrament of marriage, parents receive responsibility and privilege of evangelizing the children. Parents should initiate their children at an early stage into the mysteries of the faith, which they are forced hills for their children. Catechism, paragraph 2225, 2225. We can begin by sharing our love for Christ with our children. When my kids don't want to go to church, I tell them, I really love to go to church. I love going to see God who made us and being there with other saints and angels and worshiping God with our friends. Once again, I totally agree. You love going to church every Sunday. You love going to see God in the Eucharist and feeling God's presence with you. That maybe you don't really feel the rest of the week, even if you have a prayer life at home. Being there with all the saints and angels, because again, at the Mass, we're gathered together with heaven and earth are joined together, and worshiping the one true God with all of our friends who are all singers, and we all have one person in common, and that's we're there to see Jesus. So we're there to see God. So wrapping up, dedicate at other times. While we are running out the door to Mass, it is not the best time to teach my kids why we value Mass. So I try to really to educate them about it other times of the day. I have to recommend this book, The Holy Mass on Earth as It Is in Heaven. Whenever we start reading it, my kids become fascinated and even ask to go to Mass after seeing what's in it. At one point, one of my kids was at the infant stage and was refusing to kneel during Mass. So at a different time later that day, I pulled him onto my lap and asked, why do we kneel at Mass? What does it mean about where we are and who is present there? We discussed about how kneeling is the sign of honor and reverence, and I said, do you think that God has made heaven and earth and you and everyone you love is telling you is someone you should kneel before? He nodded his head slowly, and I could see him start to understand why we kneel, instead of just going through the motions. He hasn't ever refused to kneel at mass since that conversation. So, pretty cool story right there. So again, really educate kids about why we go to mass, what happens at the mass. If they're young, just keep. I mean, like us, we gotta have it repeat over and over and over some stuff at times. So, and really, I mean, I see this a lot in like junior high, the middle school, to high school. The kids who sit, you know, with the parents and who sit right next to their parents. I mean, I can see how good those parents did raising the kids to go to mass. They're respectful, they're reverent, um, they're engaged in the mass. Like I need to be engaged, and I look at them like, wow, they're really engaged in the mass. They're really, they seem like they really have a belief in what they're doing. Because I mean, we can always do better at whether it's at the mass. So um, it's you always have to do more with telling kids about the mass. But again, books to read on during the day, and keep them engaged outside of mass, and I said love going to mass. So I said let the things and God and pray about it, and God will take care of the rest. So lastly, last topic is woman arrested in connection with arson of Vallejo Lupe Shrine in Illinois. So last topic, and that is really hitting. I said three topics that are hitting the Catholic airwaves hard, and this is happening all over the country ever since 2020. But no one talks about it because no one really cares about the Catholic faith in the media. A 41-year-old woman has been arrested and charged in connection with causing more than $70,000 in damages in a Tuesday arson attack at the shrine of Our Lady of Guadalupe in Deep Plains, Illinois. I have been to the shrine of Our Lady of Guadalupe in La Crosse, Wisconsin, but not to the one in Deep Plains, Illinois. The 60-acre shrine, which receives hundreds of thousands of pilgrims each year and is meant to spread devotion to Our Lady of Guadalupe, which again should appear to Juan Diego, operates under the aspects of the Archdiocese of Chicago. Virginia Oakway Furman of Arlington Heights, Illinois, was charged with one felony account of arson, police said. The Plains police responded to the fire at 2:31 a.m. and unsuccessfully tried to extinguish the fire. The Plains Fire Department was able to put out the fire after arriving. So, security footage shows her throwing statues, buckets, chairs, and players' pots into the fire to stoke the flames, police said. The footage observed by Catholic News Agency shows rosaries being thrown into the fire as well. On its website, the shrine says it's considering itself an extension of that mission given in Mexico in the year of 1521 to Saint Juan Diego. It's a desecration of a very holy place, one pilgrim said, and there's no regard anymore for a holy place. So, said the same one, and I agree. There's really no regard anymore for a holy place. People don't understand it, they don't like it, whatever the case might be. They don't want holy places in America anymore. And that's really the evilest thing holy of this country. A chapel which houses a large statue of Jesus, was totally demolished by the flames, he said. Thankfully, because of security system, the police was able to capture her quickly. The shrine is being rebuilt and the damage is cleaned up. Sanchez said he added the day the chapel was born down. A funeral was planned up in Toronto for a teenage boy who died in a car accident. So they couldn't have a funeral there because they burned down she burned on the shrine, and they had to burn it, so they couldn't have a funeral for the teenage boy who died in a car accident. So again, this is just in Illinois. This is in the whole Midwest. This is on the coast. This is on the southern border. I mean, this is everywhere. This is in the world. This is not just America. This is throughout the world. So, what can I do? What can I do about these three things, really? I mean, we got the Dodgers marketing the Catholic faith. We got our kids don't want to go to church. People are bullying churches, shrines, holy places down, and no one is talking boo or doing much about it. And a story came out just recently that fewer Americans believe that God exists, but many of them still pray, which is kind of fascinating. It's like they're not really sure if God exists, but they still pray. So how do they? Okay, that doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, so 7 things. First of all, pray for these things. Pray for the people behind them. Um, and just pray about it. Say a rosary about it. Say the Ramos chapter on it. Um, just have a prayer time about it. Make sacrifices throughout the day for these things to get better. And I mean, basically, this is probably one of the best ones is trust God because in the end, He wins. This is our home. Earth is not our home. Heaven is the goal that we want to be. So again, trust God. Work on your spiritual life. Again, to fix the world outside you, you have to fix the soul inside you. Stand up. We are not cowed. We're not cowed to let people remain in evil. Like repent, believe in the gospel. Let's say a rosary, and keep the faith. Don't let this mockery and stuff, excuse me, wear you down about the Catholic faith. Keep your faith. And Albert Einstein will close with this is in the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. Opportunity to pray, make sacrifices, trust God, work on your spiritual life, stand up, say a rosary, keep the faith, and not be quiet. Work hard to be faithful and share the gospel. So share this with a friend. With that being said, share this with a friend. They might like to know about this. Again, that really concludes today. But again, you leave 7 things, and again, that's what you can do. Get in contact with the Dodgers and any other teams that have primates. I mean, they all do basically. So not just MLB, but our NBA is very, very bad when it comes to that. Football, NFL, and NHL. So, with that being said, I have kept you long enough. Thank you again, everyone. Please, hey, if you like what I did here with this video PowerPoint, let me know in the feedback below. Also, don't forget to check out all of our other episodes on our YouTube channel or any platform we have our episodes on. And keep the faith, like we always say. Like I said, earth is not our home, heaven is our goal. So keep the faith, and Jesus told he told us it wouldn't be easy. So let's not expect it easy, but let's pray for the evil to lift from our great country and for the world, the salvation of the world. God bless you. God keep you safe from harm. And hey, well, sacrament, stay please. And we'll see you all next time right here, folks, on Catholic Table Talk Podcast. Podcast where everything Catholic will always be on the table.